Y'all know I always try to come on Sundays. I've actually decided to just put videos on this old channel primarily one day a week and on weekends only. That way I can focus on my upcoming new channel. Okay, I'm going to start a couple of new channels, and I want to be able to focus on them. So just so y'all don't lose this channel, I will show up on the weekends and one day a week. Okay, y'all. So massive amount of downloads, y'all. So many downloads today. So many. And you know what I found out? Like when you obey your intuition, it automatically leads to some sort of abundance. Okay. I think that we need to get back to obeying our intuition. And one of the main things we have to obey with our intuition is knowing our worth. When our intuition tells us that we're worth more than a relationship or a family circle or an activity, we need to just stop doing it. Like, just stop doing it. And we need to realize that everything that we think we're not getting from those people in that place, there are so many other people and places that can give it to us. Just because we don't see those people and places don't mean they don't exist. I realize that knowing your worth, once you know your worth, you have to be like hardcore in protecting it. And some situations will gradually peck it away, okay, to the point where you don't even realize that you don't know your worth anymore until you've been so far gone from it. I'm going to share some of my experiences over the last 20 years and hopefully to shed some light. What I learned even during the last 5 years is who you are, how you see yourself should have nothing to do with what anyone else say. If it does, then you really don't know your worth. Okay? If you're choosing what to do, how to be, because what everybody say, what the collective of the people in the system say, then you're not really knowing your worth. You're just pretty much doing something where you don't have to worry about your worth being under attack, the imagined worth that you think you got. You're just trying to make sure that it's not under attack, a fake sort of worth. Fake worth in yourself gives you fake confidence. And some people, they ain't buying it. You can smile, you can act like you got confidence in yourself, but people will sense that you're trying to get it through being fake in a way that you know you're not even comfortable being. Okay, so for example, I went to go to karaoke a couple days ago, and somebody I knew just kept on trying to put me in the same old situation. Sorry about that, y'all. That they used to put me in. And I noticed that every time they put me in those situations, my worth is under attack. It's always something that attacks my self worth. And this person would like, they would be around me for the first few minutes and then try to sense my level of confidence. It was like they were trying to tap in to how secure I am and then create an environment or a meeting that attacks that level of confidence that I have. And I noticed when I asked, has this happened before? I noticed that it is a repeated thing. It's not like they didn't attack my worth from the start. They were actually energetically investigating the strength of my self worth before they made any action, said anything. Yes, that is very demonic. Okay? Some people do not choose the level of their self-worth until they can determine yours, until they can determine how they can affect yours. That's when their self-worth grows. Okay? This is why it doesn't matter who you're around. You must say, I must protect the self-worth strength that I showed up with, that I had before I saw this person. This means the decisions that I made. I'm going to let y'all see some of the nature, y'all. This means the decisions that I made with how I look, how I'm talking, how I carry myself, um, all of that. I have to protect all of that. And if I'm constantly in an energy battle with people in an environment to protect it, then energetically I'm still going to get drained. And if I'm drained, some unnecessary depression may come in that will affect my level of self-worth. Okay, y'all, this is deep, y'all. This is deep. Drainage alone can affect the strength of your self-worth. Okay? Some people, they can just drain you out energetically. That's enough. They're like, I know that I decreased your self-worth. I know that in the dark, when you're by yourself, you're going to be fighting a little harder for that self-worth level that you have. And they know this because they have gone through the same thing. Most times when people do stuff to you, it has been done to them. Life, our behavior and actions are learned. So when people are attacking your self-worth, someone has attacked theirs. Okay? And that's how they learned to develop their own self-worth. Yeah, it's toxic. But the thing is in this world, we're in another battle. Not just over money. We're in a battle of who's the strongest at protecting their self-worth. And it just surprises me that people are like signing up for this type of battle, this type of spiritual battle, that people are participating when you don't have to. You can literally say, bye. I'm not gonna play this game where I'm trying to protect my self-worth all the time, every time I'm with you. Your stonewalling is attacking my self-worth. Your ghosting, your shade, your overcritical ways, your counterism when you're countering me all the time, when you're being shady because certain people are around, when you are constantly bragging in my ear and never building me up. All that is an attack on my self-worth. I don't have to play this game. Okay? I don't have to play this game with God, so why do I got to play this game with you? That's deep. That's deep right there. The creator knew your self-worth before you showed up. Before you showed up in that body. So why do you have to prove it and overly protect it with these people out here who got the same ending that you're going to get? Death. None of these people are immortal. None of them is immortal in the body. So you do not have to prove your worth to them. You have to prove that you know the worth that you showed up with to God. You have to prove it. Because the creator says that's also how you have a transformation to the light. The ferryman takes you to the light side of the island instead of the dark side. Do you know that everybody on earth, and this is the deepest thing, okay? This came as a download earlier. Everyone is a ferryman. Everyone, everyone, okay? And no transformation comes free. You have to fight your way to the transformation if you're around people. The fighting becomes easier when you're not around people. So what does that tell you? Okay. Okay, let me explain it even more. Everyone's a ferryman. So some people will fight their way all the way to the light. But that don't mean you have to engage in with them when you're trying to bring them to the light. You can bring somebody to the light without ever being in a fight with them. Okay, you can direct them to the resources. You can steer them to the resources in silence and at a distance. That way, you protect your self worth. But the you helping people should never come free. Okay, I know this sounds wild, but when I realized that when I realized that every divine one is a fairy man, y'all, it hit me. It hit gobsmacked me the other day. And you're never not going to be a fairy man. That's what we call it. Okay, that's how we can understand what what we are here to do. We're all here to be ferrymans. We're here to help the next person have a transformation. But we have to have the transformation and know that we're in transformation and know thy own transformation of self-worth to be able to get other people to their transformation. But understand, people are not going to let you get them to that transformation in peace. Some people aren't as strong and disciplined, and they will attack your transformation while you're trying to get them to theirs. And if somebody wants to jump out of the boat, let them jump out. Okay? If they want to jump out and be like, you ain't the one, I don't think you're worthy, look at you, okay, let them jump out the boat. Okay? Otherwise, you're not a fairy man of the creator, you're a fairy man of the devil. Codependency is devil energy. The need to control even toxic people is devil energy. It's low vibe, y'all. So if somebody don't want to go to the transformation that you know you could take them to, then just go ahead and be like, okay, you can get out this boat, baby. You get out this boat, and somebody else can take your seat, okay? Because there is somebody that will take this help. So, for example, when I went out with somebody the other day, I called myself trying to help them because they always say like I have beautiful hair. So they said my hair is they said their hair was turning into locks and they was uncapped and they couldn't take care of their hair. So I said, I'll come over, every other week or every 2 weeks and do your hair. We can do a trade. I do your hair and you help me with my fitness goals because they're like a natural at fitness or whatever. And they blew it off. They blew me off, but yet they wanted me to give them energy and say, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear about your hair." And I told them, I'm not here to tell anybody I'm sorry to hear about your situation. I'm here as a ferryman. I'm here to help you with the transformation. Okay? That's what I'm here for. If you need somebody's shoulder just to cry on, you need a therapist. You need a therapist. But I'm here to get you out your situation. Because getting you out your situation is getting me further out of my situation. But they didn't want to hear that. What they were obsessed with was just getting validation of their self-worth while making sure they could not have me help them in transformation so that they could never give me a boost of my self-worth. So they wanted a boost of their self-worth, but they didn't want to boost mine. Okay? So they was being selfish with the way the energy was flowing. So I said, you know what? I'm done. Like I said, you're injured. I offered you a ride because you're in a tough situation. You're disabled right now. And I said, I offered to do your hair because you're struggling with that. And all you could think about is bragging. All you could think about is talking about yourself. I said, chasing everything out here rather than honoring our lifelong friendship. I said, you just want the attention seeking and not the help. I said, I didn't charge you for no gas. I said, nothing. And I drove a great distance to help you. I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop you off because I have common courtesy still. I'm not going to leave you with a bum leg on the side of the road because that you'll use that against me. See, that's what I was thinking. I said, but I'm going to drop you off close to your home and I'm going to go ahead and say farewell. I got you to a destination like the ferryman do, but I ain't giving you no more help along the way because you don't have gratitude. All you do is brag about yourself and cater to everybody else's energy. I said, so I got you to your destination. And they was like, oh, so you really ain't gonna hang no long? I said, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I realized that they were trying to get me for money, free ride, but they were gradually doing it. Gradually doing it. Like they said, oh, is there a cover charge? And they were like, I hope they don't got a cover charge. And they thought I was gonna say, oh, I got you. I'm like, no, I already got you twice. I'm not getting you all the way there. You're supposed to help yourself some of the transformation, some of the destination travel. So I stayed quiet with paying their way. And I could tell that they was triggered. They tried to get me to sit and wait on like this dangerous street while they roll some weed for somebody. I said, I said, no, 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 no. I said, I agreed to give you a ride, but I didn't agree to jeopardize my life, to put my life in risk, sitting on a road where people have got shot, killed, and murdered out, these gang members and stuff. I said, no, 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 we're not doing that. And the guy he was talking to, he was like, oh, you know what, go ahead. Like, I'm a modern woman. And I looked at him like, seriously? And I said, no, 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 no. I said, you got 1 minute to get what you need to get off of him. Or I got to leave you with that bum leg on the side of the road. Okay? Yes, I am a ferryman, but I'm not risking my life, this current transformation, for you to entertain a low vibe situation. That's what I told him, right? So, so I could tell they was triggered because they literally is a covert narcissist, okay, which I realized after I dropped them off. But they was triggered because they was like, oh, you have the audacity, because they have they have what you call I forget what it's called, but they're able to build muscle fast. So they think that because they've been a bodybuilder most of their life, and they think that I owe them some special catering to their toxicity. And I said, nah, I don't care. Like, your bodybuilder ain't got nothing to do with me. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Okay. So I just went ahead and just let them off on the side of the road. Okay. I closed it out. No, because I knew my worth. I knew that if I kept helping them another day on rainy days with this bum leg they got, with this broken leg, that they were going to milk me of my energy because they're narcissistic. They was going to milk me of my energy and destroy my self-worth as hard as they could so they can get nourished and fed as a narcissist. Okay, so I shared a story with y'all because ferrymen do share stories and they do listen to other people's stories. Yesterday, I spent almost an entire day meditating. When I tell y'all, all I did was sit and do nothing and literally just sit with the energy of the trees. I'm talking about, I did this for hours and hours and hours yesterday. And I started to realize that most of the people in our life, okay, y'all, most of the people in our life is literally taking us for a ride. Okay? If we don't get served, if we don't get paid, if we don't get paid in some way that works for us, we've been taken for a ride. It doesn't matter who it is we dealt with. So yesterday I decided that I was not going to deal with some of my family members ever again, never again. I'll see them on the other side maybe. The reason why is because for me, I noticed that they didn't know my worth because my family always felt like they could have the best, but I couldn't. They felt like I had to accept um, having a mediocre or, less valuable abundance than they do, but they couldn't have it. Okay, they think that they should have nice cars and I shouldn't. They think that they should have hugs and kisses, but I shouldn't. I tried to remember when my family members ever gave me a hug and kiss. Never. Like, I don't remember aunties, uncles. I don't remember my parents